to the flag of the United States of America, stands one nation under God, indivisible. Roll call.
Roll call. Buck. President. Barr. Allen. Tabitha.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Kim. President. Alan Michael. Jim. Here. Matt. Here. Thank you.
Okay, you've had time to read the minutes. If there's no questions or corrections on the minute, we need a motion to accept them.
Vote to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have a copy of the bills. This is complete here.
Yes.
If there's no questions or concerns on the bills, we need a motion to pay them.
Move to pay.
I think there was an amendment, make sure you got the right numbers. Fees, 1953.40 was added to total is 19,806.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, before we start, I want to give a quick thank you to the Pride Committee, Pam and Bob. Pam and Bob in particular had a little bit of a problem with that golf cart parade. Not only was the weather against them, but their golf cart was against them also. So they came through the parade totally undecorated, but still leading the parade and did a lot of work. And it was terrible weather. And it was pretty cold for an ice cream social, but it went well. There was a lot of people there and it was very nice. So thank you. I also want to thank Tabitha for your other cold event, the movie.
It wasn't that bad.
It was leading up to it, but it got
It was. I mean, the night was fine. It wasn't windy, so it made a difference.
And also the
Thank you.
good job on it. Okay. Alan, safety.
We got several things. Deputy Hardy is here today. Today, also appreciate that. And there was, at the request of fiscal officers, a request from committees to reduce their budgets in the 12 to 14% range. We work on reducing deputy hours through the year. We budget roughly $1,200 over the course of the year. Varies monthly. We knocked roughly 130 hours out of that through the balance of the year to meet the physical requirements that they were working for. So in the summer months, we typically go 120, 100 in that area. Now, we still have coverage at any time to call dispatch or non-emergency dispatch for coverage that we get a little bit of double play because the back city covers the township and some of the areas in the village are the township. So we're going to monitor that, make sure that we're covered for all the necessary issues we did. So this past month was 100 hours, which was the requested out. They did deliver 100 hours, so 100%. 602 miles long, 42.8 gallons of gas. RA 40 hours, deputy Yarborough 35, deputy Hines 20. The activities for the month. Animal complaint working dog use canine 1, domestic 2, disturbance of bike 1, fire unknown 1, fire unknown commercial 2, danger unknown 1, mental 1, extra patrol 74, victor watches 2, harassment phone calls or texts 1, lockout 2, assist another agency 1, building checks 1, citizens assist standby or directions 1, convulsion seizures 1, criminal damage, mischief, vandalism 1, a fall victim 1, fraud identity theft, fraud identity fraud, follow up 1, golf cart inspections 2. I think that gives us 6 for the year. Parking complaints 1, road rage 1, person 1, traffic stops 2, welfare checks 1. 1 or 2 new ones in there. The road rage is a new one. That is, were you on that call at all?
No, I was not.
Okay, so that was a new, I have roughly 135 different categories.
Actually, if that's the one call I was thinking of, that was part Lafayette and part ours, yeah, motorcycle incident. Back on
That-
the days.
I'm saying it's a new one of the 135 categories. That was a new one. And total of 104 activities for the month, which is in line with typical stuff, which we're always concerned about. Any of the harassment issues, disturbance fights, that kind of stuff. There's also concerns. The deputies are always on that as we get to the legal issue. Michaelson's involved with that too. For we started last month at the request of the mayor to the park district to give us safety activities on Chippewa Lake itself, to the park district. Last they reported that there was no incidences last month. They did provide me something for this month. Ranger Deputy Paul Ruby is the primary person, and that's who communicates with me. In the month of May, they did 2 salutations. One was under an ORC 1547.15, which requires an observer when towing a skier. There's one incident on that. And then alcohol prohibition, park code 8.2. There's also Ohio revised code from that. There was one issue on that, one citation. 11 verbal warnings. I don't have a statistic of what those verbal warnings were for. Could have been minor scenarios or safety issues that were easily corrected. And they did 4 vessel checks. So this is developing. I'm not sure how it's going to play out. I'm glad they're communicating with us so we can communicate to you. There's activities on the lake. They're from this winter's activity. They seem to be more assertive. Let's put it at that. Deputy Ruby was going to be 10 to 8, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's how I understood this schedule. So that's all I know at this point. And if we have to amend this report, it's a development, working development. On that was the primary deputy issues. There'll be some other procedural issues that we can get into conversation at this point in time. On the fire report, Chief Kavanaugh is out of town this week, and I will run and retrieve that and give that. That's it. It's right here in front of me. They had 75 calls this month. Chatham 1, City of Medina 2, Lafayette Township 4, Liverpool Township 1, Village of Chippewa Lake 6, Village of Glory Glen's 8, Seville 2, Westville Township 1, total of 75 incidences. It shows how they broke out. 72% of these were rescue EMS calls. 5% were fire. 3 were false alarms. 5 were good intent calls. 8 were service calls. 1 was hazardous conditions. Daytime, the 43 were in the daytime hours, 32 in the nighttime hours. They're really good at average time turnout was 1 minute and 48 seconds. The minute the call comes to the station, they're in and out, leaving the station in 1 minute and 48 seconds. So think of that. They're really lost. The average turnout, it was 148 this month. 2 minutes, 2 seconds is their average. An average travel time from leaving the station to reach the point of contact is 5 minutes, 53 seconds. All of those are very exciting. They had a sling of things that they've done in the community. I won't read 2 pages of that, but we appreciate the fire department, what they do for us, keeping us safe and responsive to the needs of our community. Any comments on the fire report? Anything from the audience on fire, please?
I have a question.
Sure.
If you're the emergency, in case of emergency personnel, somebody's simply safe alarm and you show up and the police show up to the day, just we do it together, what is that coded as on your report? Because the police have to show up when somebody's simply safe alarm goes off, or one of those kinds of alarms.
I'm not saying it wouldn't show up in my category.
Does it maybe false alarm?
Jim, you got an idea what they have to
We
call it?
get the squad call, and in the comments, when we get it, it'll say that's what, so
Okay.
we know what we're going to.
But it's not listed on one of yours.
It'll come in as a squad call, and
Okay.
so we're like, down.
The report that I received is generated by dispatch against the calls that during that period of time and how the calls are affected by the dispatch. And as I said, there's about 135 other categories. Some of them, they change a word around, so it's a new category.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
I think he answered what you
Yeah.
Dennis.
Yeah, I've noticed, recently, that the intersection of Lake and Chippewa Road, the number of cars that are running that stop sign are just, it's getting crazy up there. We had a car, I'm sorry, we had a box truck, U-Haul truck, make that curve in front of us from Lake Road onto Chippewa at such speed, I thought he was gonna roll us. He ran the stop sign and it fell off. And I see the vehicles coming down off that hill, I guarantee you, they're way over. So is there something that can be done?
Comment, that's actually Lafayette Township, that intersection.
No, but part of it, Southwest.
No.
So I'll chime in, we already have an extra patrol made up for Lake Road and Chippewa. I made it personally there for the school buses, and that carries over in the summer. I'll also tell you, when I'm not even working the village, there's a detail that I work along with other guys at the traffic rank at the state of Ohio, pays us to do overtime just to do traffic enforcement anywhere in the county. I personally come to the village and hit that area. I sit at Craigie Creek, Chippewa, I'll sit at the old bank, even though it's Lafayette County jurisdiction, so.
Well, I
I'll
know,
hit traffic there, I've done traffic stop there. Obviously, we can't be there 24/7, but we're aware of it.
understand. I mean, I've had cars pass me in that intersection that was behind me at the stop sign. I mean,
That's reckless. That's not right.
And when the car behind you passes you in the intersection,
We catch them, we're gonna suck.
But they have to catch up.
So I had an opportunity last month to speak to the planning commission on a couple of things. And one of the things that I brought up was discussion that we've had among ourselves and with Nate from the Park District about the fact that there's a greater influx of folks coming here. And there will continue to be. And then my concern and our concern as a community was that perhaps, whether we want it or not, there'll be accidents, there'll be other things that happen. And I said, I think you guys should be aware of it. And he said, well, the sheriff's department is really who you're looking at. And then in a subsequent meeting, I had a chance to talk to Nate again. And Nate said, well, I have the park at 1,000 feet around whatever is the park. And our guys are, guaranteeing additional scrutiny if it's required from his own rangers who are, somehow allowed to do certain things. But my concern, are you manned well enough to handle this influx and should we, you're talking about more support for you or?
You're talking about a few things there. If it's parking issues that you're talking about.
Well, it could be parking, it could be, there's some interlopers, and again, if you look at, our community, and, I sometimes I think, and maybe I'm the only one thinking, there's a number of people. Who think this way. I mean, are we getting close to needing a gated community, card access? Something that provides us more comfort and our safety and ability to keep our community, our community. It's just one man's.
Well, I mean, they're all concerns. When we went through the master plan with the park district initially, they had parking for the hiking area that off of Longacre. For obvious reasons, we resisted that. I'm not sure how the new parking's gonna go there, but that's probably next year or something, but you're right, we need to be planning for that. Michelson, we knew was not going to be able to be here today, so the type of legal questions you're asking, we would defer to him. I had no comments on gated communities. I don't know what that would do. But yeah, you're right. If the park is going to generate more traffic for us, are they going to help support us in that regard? Or they're going to defer it to Medina County deputy sheriffs and or I know where the Lafayette Township is over in that area. We'll get Medina City, which covers the township. So these are all valid questions. It's not here yet, but it's good to start figure out how we're going to do it. I don't know what it was like in the old days here at the park. To me, it would have been just a line of traffic all the time of curious people. They're going to have curious onlookers, probably be part of it. But in the village, there are 25-mile-an-hour speed limits, but rarely anybody ever goes that speed. And there's been discussions about lowering it, but we don't have only traffic accident we've actually had and really aware of, like a bicycle ran straight red light and hit a car. So that you can't change anything based on that. So it's kind of an unusual scenario, but you're right, we need to be thinking about it, preparing about it, getting people to talk about it.
I see a lot more traffic probably by my house said than you guys on the circle with Long Acres being right in my backyard. The traffic is really picked up there. It's golf cart traffic. There's a lot more golf carts. Not the cars. They're not an unusual rate, but there are a lot more golf carts and little motorized vehicles and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think that's local. So I think that's
No matter numbers and no matter how good people and intentions might be, there's always more risk with the numbers considered.
Is there anything else, Deputy Harvey?
Yeah. We were going to talk over some procedural issues, table that to new business.
Well, did you want him to be here for that?
Yeah, I might have some comments.
So go ahead.
Well, the scenario that we have surveillance cameras throughout the building. Mark Hunter's responsible for, she operates surveillance cameras. If there's an issue, she comes in and pulls up. Sometimes it's not easy to pull up the video of that. And then maybe the video doesn't show anything that you can specifically do. But how many cameras do you have? You have here.
12 total on the building.
And through the village and the parks and stuff.
Oh, well, up at the tennis courts, there's 3.
Okay. Anything down in the beach area?
We thought about it, but we don't have Wi-Fi, we don't have electricity. The cameras up at the tennis court, we are using one of the residents' Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi for that. And they're solar powered, so we didn't need electricity for it.
So the scenario was vandalism on the basketball goal. That's the one here at the end of the parking lot.
Right.
So it's able to be lowered down for smaller players. What happened if somebody physically broke the lock? We're going to do that. and then hanging on under a restraint basket. So Barb identifies that. And through either knowledge or whatever, recognizes the children involved, teachers involved. So the deputy did the report, but it would be up to the village if you want to prove, press charges on that. So, you know, I'm chair of the safety committee. Barb, I think, actually sits on that committee. So what is, and surveillance cameras are kind of new to us. And, you know, if you do find that this was a juvenile misdemeanor kind of scenario, how do we handle that? You know, from responsibility authorities. I talked with Jim briefly on that. You got things that you want to chime in on that?
So if you guys have the same structure as any of the municipalities like Medina City, Wadsworth, Seville villages, anything like that, when we get a call, typically, each of these jurisdictions will have a safety director, such as you guys do, Alan Michelson. Those other jurisdictions, I think the easiest way to do it is part something on the cameras. She obviously can call the sheriff's department, she's part of the council, she runs the cameras. We'll go out there, such as Deputy Lyon did with her, get all the information together, and then, we would make contact with Alan. He's the safety director. He's basically our boss. And then it would be up to him if Bill would go out and prosecute. Once he says yes or no, obviously we as the police, we have the authority to go put cuffs on somebody if we have enough probable cause to do that. If it's something that's in a gray area, that's when we usually send reports to the prosecutor. It's a Medina City prosecutor, depending on the different townships. Sometimes they'll go to them. Wadsworth City jurisdictions will send to the Wadsworth City prosecutor. In this case, if it's in the village, we send those reports to Alan Michelson. And then it would be up to him if somebody's going to get prosecuted if it's a gray area. In the case with juveniles, he doesn't have any jurisdiction to prosecute juveniles. So we have a county juvenile prosecutor where any case that involves a juvenile anywhere in Medina County, there's one prosecutor that handles that. Such in this case, that report was already forwarded to the juvenile prosecutor, and those kids are going to get charged with criminal damaging. So I think the best way to do it, obviously you guys have a big council here. Anybody obviously does have the authority to make that call. I think when you have too many chiefs getting involved, I think it's easier just to have a safety director. He's the person in charge of fire and the police. And then he has my cell phone too. He can call me 24/7 if he's got any questions, and go about it that way. I would encourage anybody, I say this over and over at these different meetings, if you have a problem, even if it's so minimal, parking issue, speeding issue, I know a lot of you know Alan personally or the mayor, all you're doing is wasting valuable time of us possibly catching a suspect in the act, whatever they may be doing is minor or serious as it can be. So call in later maybe. Call the sheriff's department first, and then it's the non-emergency number. If it's not an emergency, obviously, if it is, you call 911. If it's not, call 725-6631. That's non-emergency. It goes right into dispatch. Save it in your phone, and then we'll have an officer come out. A lot of times we're sitting around typing reports up here at town hall, down at the beach. I like to sit down on the beach in the summer a lot, typing reports from other calls I have in the county, and you guys call the mayor or the safety director, and then they get a voicemail from them, they call me an hour later, person's already gone. Call the sheriff's department, even if nobody's working the village, they're gonna send an officer out there to investigate your complaint.
I would ask that you put that phone number in your minutes, please.
And 725-6631, but I'm sure they can do that.
And it would be in the village too, so it
I'm sure it's probably on the website too, isn't it?
would be. I mean, you call 911.
Village website, yes.
Not a problem. It's going to be a dispatch, but not 911 scenario. But anything that goes to dispatch, the department is responsible to respond to that, no matter how many. Obviously, you have the 911 issues, but any of the other things that you would call in or anything else from a time they are responsible to respond to that. It could be somebody right in the village, or they got to dispatch somebody, they have to take care of it. They have to fill out the report, so don't take it lightly just because it doesn't go to 911. The other, I think, on the issue of, because Barb's gonna have more surveillance camera issues coming up in the future. I think with Michael's, it's back, sure that we, whatever we decide is appropriate, that we get that in some written form into the miscellaneous ordinances or whatever's the procedural to do that. Barb shouldn't have to put the county into, or the town village into a legal representation.
Well, she didn't really do that according to what he just said.
Well, I thought.
She called it in, she talked to the deputy sent that over to the juvenile system, right?
It is now, yes. I think the main issue-
Because they were juveniles in the first place when he came out, is that why?
So-
Or did somebody say to put him in the juvenile system? I misunderstood you. You sounded like that man.
He ended up getting a confession out of him, so it didn't matter the video caught him doing the act. Because the bar knew who they were. I actually dealt with one girl on a domestic the other day, so she's on my short list. I'm not getting grades, but, so we knew who they were. We interviewed them, they confessed to it, and once we have a confession, and they are juveniles, so we send that then over to the juvenile prosecutor. It got faxed over today, actually. I talked to Mike Lyon today. So once the prosecutor gets that, they send notices. It's handled a lot different with adults. The juveniles will send out a notice to the parents, and they'll have to go to juvenile court with their kids. And then when it starts the court process in juvenile court, they get probation. If it's a serious crime, they get sent to the detention center. Now, just because they're a juvenile doesn't mean that we can't arrest them. If the juvenile gets a violent crime, domestic violence, if they do something so outrageous, busting out windows here where it's a felony over $1,200 in damage, I won't even call it juvenile prosecutor. I'll just put cost on them and take them to the detention center, and then we forward that report to the juvenile prosecutor stating that we arrested them and whatnot. So don't think that everything goes to juvenile prosecutor. It comes down to the police or us. You know, we can make that arrest, but as long as we have the backing of the prosecutor that they're gonna prosecute it. There's been times where you get your parking complaints around here and it's not that big of a deal, so we're not gonna go and be road Nazis around fighting everybody. But if it gets such a problem where we're getting so many complaints that there's outsiders here, and they want us to start writing, I'll write 100 parking tickets, I don't care. So it comes with the police, we talk it over with, in my case, I talked it over with Alan Robbins. He's a safety director, and then it's his responsibility to talk over to the mayor. She needs to be notified, or the other council.
And that's what I did. I sent out an email to everybody on council with the information
You did, you were.
to try to find out what everybody's thoughts and opinions were on it. And it was a mixed bag on what to do with it. And I waited until I got a response from Alan Michelson and his suggestion based on the information that was given. And he's the one who said this should be sent over to the juvenile prosecutor. I got a voicemail from Deputy Lyons last night saying, what are we gonna do about this? So I just said, per Michelson, we're gonna go ahead and prosecute. So I wasn't trying to overstep any bounds or, you know, for the mayor or for Alan, for that matter. We had got a collection of thoughts and ideas. Some said, oh, let's just give them community service. The last time we caught some kids vandalizing up here and we gave them community service, they thought it was fun. And I ended up doing most of the work. Well,
If they say, if you guys agree to that, then they say, F you, I'm not doing that.
right,
You guys made, when you guys are making a verbal, simple agreement between them, they decide not to do that, you can't go back and charge them. So, courts do any community sanctions on, like these kids. If they've never been in trouble before, they'll sentence them to probation and say, okay, you have to do 100 hours of community service to the village of Chippewa. At that point, then the courts would contact probably, the mayor or Ellen Robbins and say, okay, this person, part of the sentencing was 100 hours. What do you want them to do? And then that's what you guys get. To the village.
These same kids have, I'm nearly certain that they've broken the lock off of that basketball hoop at least twice previously.
Right.
They've smashed bricks and chunks of asphalt in the parking lot. You know, I don't know if there's been any damage to the community garden or the water intakes back there or anything. I know that one day the shed was left unlocked and they opened the door and they get, oh, you know, and they took off running. So, and even right after all this incident happened, then they had the basket back down again, and we have pictures of kids hanging on them again. They don't care if the kids are lowering the basket, so they can, for little kids to shoot, but not for bigger kids, just so they can dunk and hang on the rim, and vandalize it and then ruin it for everybody. So,
Well,
and
many
they,
of these youth are not from the village. They're from.
correct, they do not live in the
Everyone
village.
lives on,
Chippewa Road and the boy lives on Lake,
but it's still like damage happened here, so that we were the one that handled it.
right?
Doesn't matter. You know, kids talk, and it's a small village, we're getting, make an example out of a couple of these kids, and we're gonna get around that. Don't tolerate it.
Well,
Obviously, it's gotta be some sort of monetary damage before we can charge them with, criminal damaging, that's from the Ohio Revised Code. So just somebody hanging on it.
right,
It's gotta be some sort of damage before we can charge, keep that in mind.
well, and right after that incident happened, then the kids were up here again hanging on the rim, and Bud shooed them away, warned them.
You shot
And less than a half an hour later, I got a phone call from another resident that they were down by the beach forcing around up there. And I was unaware that they had already been, you know, adjusted, you know, somebody spoke to them up here less than a half an hour previously.
See, the small problem, like you just said, too, is they call you, tell you that
Yeah.
they should have called us.
Yeah.
725-6631, my point.
And I had somebody text me a picture of those kids, hanging from the rim. I don't know if we share that with you as well, but
Again, it's just mischief. They're just hanging from the rim. It didn't,
Yeah.
if they had broken it,
There you go.
then we'd have a serious.
So there's actually 4 council members that were involved.
In the second incident.
With the second and third, it's the same kids, it's say within and out. So, yeah.
And again, I
Roll
don't,
call should have been.
I don't think that these kids that were hanging on the rim were residents either. I think they're from the old park area.
But I totally agree with getting vandalizing you, get them early. Hopefully you get them on the right direction. If you don't, it just multiplies. Because they communicate with the other kids. We've had to handle those, you know, down in the bocce for the score thing. And it's just aggravating issues, but hopefully if we get to them early properly, that we can help minimize this issue.
Well, if they're charged, when do the parents get involved?
The juvenile?
Yeah.
So in this case, they were the parents were notified right then and there. It's like when they got the confession, when Deputy Lyons got the confession, he spoke to the legal guardian. But then they also get something from the court. If we cite a juvenile, even with a speeding ticket, if they're under 18, everything goes to the juvenile court. We don't give them a court date on the citation like we do with an adult that gets a speeding ticket. That gets sent to the juvenile court, such as this did, and then they get a certified mail from the prosecutor saying, this is the court date that the parents and the juvenile have to go to the juvenile court. That's when that process starts.
So that's another good reason to get it to the juvenile prosecutor, because the parents are
Oh, whereas if we do it and do community service, don't do that right now. Because there's nothing on record when you agree to do that, and then once you agree to do that, they can't be charged criminally. You guys made a civil agreement for them to do it, and then they go back on that and say, well, they didn't do what we told them to do, now we're gonna charge them. Doesn't apply in the courts of Ohio.
Are you saying somebody from the village makes that agreement with the child?
Yeah.
If an individual wanted to make an agreement, says, hey, we can deal with stuff.
Even you do. See somebody passes your mailbox, you figure out who did it, and you say, you know what? We wanna work this out, you know, the parents, let's say, and $100, they're gonna come put a new mailbox. If they say, okay, well, I'm gonna do that, you guys just made a verbal agreement, a verbal contract with them. They say, F you, I'm not doing it now, and you call us, we're not gonna be able to charge you.
We don't necessarily want to be babysitters on community services. You know, right through the court system. Juveniles are a little different. The world has changed. You think you're dealing with a parent, it may be a grandparent that's actually in charge of this. It's a whole different world.
Okay, Jim, I think you've answered everybody's questions.
Actually, have 4 things, and I don't want to delay this conversation. But I just want to get these 4 questions in the minutes. When were the cameras installed? What can they see? Who can view it? And what rights do residents have to protect their privacy?
There's no privacy with cameras, because it's,
But what do they see? Like, what is in view?
part of
You know?
the.
And it isn't notified, is the community notified?
There's signs in the windows,
Signs in the
there's
window.
signs in the building windows.
But at the circle, did you say the tennis court? Or did you say
The
the?
tennis courts.
Yes,
I think there's signs up there too. There's small signs up there as well
where are,
on the tennis courts fence.
so is it just the tennis court?
So, it gets the perimeter of the road, people coming around, because actually it gets quite a few people going the wrong direction on Bungalow Bay. It gets-
So are residents able to view the camera?
The residents can't see, they can't access.
I mean, it's my front door,
No,
you know what I mean? How do we know?
There's not a tree now.
we're not the reach of the camera,
Yeah.
no, it's not gonna pick that up. If a car comes past the tennis courts, that's within the range of the camera, so it gets picked up and catches the FedEx truck going the wrong way around the building.
So they're aimed on the tennis courts,
They're in the tennis courts.
in the tennis courts, and then the other set, there's 3 at the tennis courts, I hear you correctly, and then the other location?
One right there.
On on this building, but not the beach or the basketball court.
Correct.
Not yet.
And no privacy, like if you were to catch something.
So the burden, you lose your burden of privacy when you leave your house and go on public property.
Sure. That's why I wanted to make
People
sure.
can record each
Nobody's
other.
calling for being recorded. Got it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, is there anything else for Jim?
I don't know about for Jim, but for the conversation, just to be clear, it looks like if there's an incident somewhere, and say Barb identifies something on the camera, it's her responsibility to call either the sheriff if it's that urgent, or Alan, and then Alan will contact the sheriff. And that's the end of it, of Barb's involvement, other than showing what's on the camera to the deputy, correct? It's
Pretty
not her
much.
job to go confront somebody about something.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, no confrontation.
Well, no, okay, so, no, I did, as I was leaving to go back home, I saw Deputy Line in the village, so I flagged him down, and we met up here and I showed him the camera stuff. And then I contacted council. And then the night of the second incident, when I was called down to the beach, and then I came up here, I believe, to take out the trash cans, and was contacted that some kids were up here doing stuff. At which point in time, one of the kids that was down at the beach was also over here in the playground area. So I let them know that any kind of vandalism, that the building does have cameras, and anything that is done would be recorded. I wasn't harassing anybody. It was a friendly reminder. That was the extent of it.
And then to me, the simplest solution to this is change the basketball to a standard regulation.
It's locked.
It's locked in the higher
Locked in place
position
and
of.
it will stay that way. Well,
We just now locked it so it doesn't move at all.
It's permanently gonna stay at the 10 foot.
well, there were locks on it previously that I do believe that the same kids that got caught this time broke it up previously. Based on what I saw on the cameras. And then this last time, they didn't break the lock off. It was a good lock. They actually broke the welded on manufacturer hasp that was on the pole. The lock is beat up pretty good, but it's still locked. It's still on there, but they actually broke the welded manufactured hasp that the crank was locked to with a cement block that they got from behind the shed.
You keep the receipt, because that'll be part of their restitution.
Well, it's been,
I put a personal chain I own in a padlock, wrapped it securely, checked on it repeatedly. It's still vertical, locks in place, chains in place. And my conversation with the juveniles was strictly a preventative measure. They were doing nothing but working about. So I had a brief conversation with them. And they decided they would go elsewhere. Where they decided to go, I had not a clue. Later found out they'd gone to the boat ramp, were hanging on the kayak, and were playing musical tunes on the porta potty with a tree ring. And that's when Barb, I believe, had a conversation. They were doing nothing here. I had no reason to engage anyone other than myself and explain why we spent the money to put the basketball hoop there. I said, if you don't respect it, we'll remove it.
we'll get a permanent fix and a price to fix it. This was something that we could do in the moment, but there will be a permanent fix and then the value would be assessed to that.
I talked to Keith Riedel, he's gonna come down and see what he could do on his. Just taking that, feature, out of the equation.
It's unfortunate for the little kids who do go up there and use it the right way, that, too bad apples have to spoil for everybody, but somebody, if a kid jumps up there and they're dunking and they get hurt, then we're liable. So, CYA.
Okay. We have other business to get to besides this, and I think this has already been discussed. Bottom line is call the police. Not the council people, not the mayor, not Alan, much as you guys like to call Alan. And Jim, thank you for coming in on your day off.
You're welcome.
In uniform.
And we will now go to zoning. Another fun event.
Zoning report for June. 9 Berkeley Path, that is posted condemned, and its demolition paperwork is in order. 286 Briarwood Boulevard. Contractor located the property line and has found that the overhang is in compliance, non-issue. 238 Silver Crest Drive, warning notice was posted for removal of a temporary structure. 354 Briarwood Boulevard, warning notice was posted for the removal of a temporary structure. 77 Longacre, a warning notice was issued for illegal temporary structure. 16 Bungalow Bay, a warning notice was posted for excessive harassment. And 109 Clover Cliff, a warning notice was posted for excessive harassment. In permits, we have 24-011 at 513 Lee Lower Lane. There's a permit for a fence. 24-012 at 480 Shortfield Drive. Permit for a fence, a driveway extension, a shed, and a portal. 24-013 at 418 Northville Drive is a permit for a deck replacement. And 24-014 at 371 Craggy Creek Drive is a permit for a pool. Couple of things with the minutes. It says I was asked to get quotes for the demolition of Parkway Path, 9 Parkway Path.
Yeah.
Are we still moving forward with that?
Well, we're just one quote. We didn't say we're gonna demolish it.
I have 2 guys that are gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday. We're gonna visit the 7.
We probably are not gonna demolish it. We've been told, by our higher authority here that it's not in our budget.
But we can't say that it's not in our budget if we don't know the cost.
That's right. We want to know the
I'd
cost,
like to
just to make sure it's not.
Another thing.
597 Lake Road, that's Susan Arsenault.
Yeah.
I got her voice. I left a message.
I have a question about 286 Broadway.
Yes.
You knew I would. I want to know why this has been going on since December. And now you're saying the contractor located the property line and found the overhang is in compliance. When all this time, the overhang has not been in compliance. Why are they just finding the property line? Why is the contractor finding the property line and not you? This is the guy who was waiting for his carpenters to come back, right, for 4 months?
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's in compliance?
This is.
Just
Started,
not making sense, Jim.
this was an accusation from a resident here.
I know we had a complaint
And I
about it.
first said, no, it should be where it is. I remember the line, the way that it's supposed to be. And you said, no, check into that. So I did. And finding that I couldn't find the line, I said, the contractor's gonna need to find it. Because he knows where the pins are. There's markers somewhere for the pins. Well, the contractor, and this is a really long story,
You're right, it is.
it's ended up completely screwing these people. They had a fire. And they had somebody else hired to finish the job. He went way over budget. He has taken all of their money that was supposed to do the whole project. And he's not even finished part of it.
So is this a different contractor now that's saying that there is no violation?
Me.
Okay, you said the contractor located.
He located the pins. I found them with him. They showed me where the pins were.
So who's been looking at it all this time saying it was wrong? I mean, for the last,
It was,
what,
it
4 or
was
5
an
months?
accusation
Yeah.
from the beginning, and I said, no, it's not. We have to find the property line. That's what I've been saying all along. I emailed the contractor and said, you have to find the property line. We need to know it. He finally did that. They're in compliance. It's not-
But every other month you've been saying they're waiting to find the carpenters to come back.
That's
They've
what
been
he-
busy, so that
That's
wasn't
what
true.
he assumed that I was right in saying that it looks like it's probably too close or over the property line, but we really need to know where the property.
Well, I'm not trying to be insulting, but you're the zoning inspector. Am I wrong in expecting you to find these property lines and do this measurement and not some guy that's doing some work, some other guy?
No, it's not my responsibility to find the property. Surveyor's job.
Is there a survey on this
There's a
property?
survey on the property.
And the pins line up with what the
Pin
survey
markers
is?
are in
And how long has there been a survey of the property?
since before the project.
Then why have we been messing around all these months and you saying that wait for
Because
the
the
car?
weather, the guy hasn't been able to be out. And then they fired him months ago. So they're just trying to drag him back into the situation. It's not me, it's not any of my.
It was pretty sloppy work, it looks like it. You know how many times we've talked about this property?
And I know that, and I've been saying, I'm trying to get a hold of this guy. There's nothing I can do, you can't push the road,
Now, how do we know this new guy's right?
because I know where the bid is, I measured it.
Okay,
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the two warnings for illegal temporary structures, how many notices do we give? Because we gave a notice last month.
It was,
What happens?
it was one notice given. the deadline, which,
30 days?
no, the deadline, I believe it was, the end of May, beginning of June. So these need updated and checked, which is part of what I'm gonna do with Matt. After the building inspection, and you guys are done, we're going to do some work. We have to mark trees, and we have to check on.
I'm just curious. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. that.
Yeah, usually it's, you give them a deadline, you have to do it by this deadline, if not, then we have to go back. I have to be recorded, which then puts it into the court process where Alan files for it. And then we take a report, and charge you for it.
Gotcha. That's it. I think that's all I have.
Okay. And there was another thing about signs. We're checking the code on the sign, and that was for,
the sign size?
Right.
yeah, and there's really nothing to cover. Look at it. And it's basically a sign that says no trespassing or surveillance and whatever and stuff, and it's a pretty big sign, like maybe 2 by 3. But we don't really have anything that covers it. Most of our sign regulations are for, if you're a contractor and, you put out your little sign after you do a job, you're supposed to take that sign down in 2 minutes.
Didn't we have one on Bungalow Bay a couple years ago? Where they were
There was
renting it out or something like that?
somebody who put a big sign up about something.
Yeah, didn't they have to take that down because of the size of it? I know that they were asked to take it down, if I remember.
I think they were asked to take it down because of what sign.
Because it was a short-term rental and it was advertising the business, I think.
Yeah, and it's a residential.
And then we attached it to the house.
Yeah, that was the captain thing, wasn't it? It was fun too, right?
I believe that's my sign. Is that correct?
Was that,
5 Bungalow Bay, I put that sign up.
Yeah.
All right. Is it illegal?
But that's the conversation we're having right
yeah,
now.
no,
Show me where it's illegal, I'll change it.
yeah.
We don't see where.
If it's not illegal, it's the only way I can keep the deer up.
Now, to your point, that it was brought to, brought forward.
By the way, you guys.
We saw that.
Look out over the driveway, absolutely amazing. What you can see.
Can you check out?
And we can hear.
Yeah, I went up and took a
Well,
look.
let me know what you want to do.
No, I think it's fine. There's no regulation from what I can find. And basically it's, you know, like I said, if you're a contractor and you pop one of those in and after you do a job for advertisement, that's fine. Has to be removed after a couple of weeks. And the most regulations that we have, and it's if you're a business and a commercial, we have a commercial section, the size requirement, things like that. We have realtors, are only allowed a specific size, like 9 square foot is a specific size. There's temporary signs and guidelines for that, but we have nothing.
I'll be glad to accommodate whatever you want me to do.
Very clear, coming in the driveway.
Well, by the time I get the landscaping done,
You've done a wonderful job.
pardon?
You've done a wonderful job at that place.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Okay, Jim, you ready for
That's all I have.
the variance?
Now we're ready for variance. Mayor, would you like to call the variance here into order?
Yes, we'll call the, variance hearing for John and Tamara Kenny to order now. Are John and Tamara, Oh, okay. And is there anyone here that is a neighbor or has an interest in this, that received a letter or anything, has any comment they want to make about this? To you?
I'm a neighbor.
A variance.
Did you want to say something?
I have no opposition to it. But do I have to abstain with the voting since I'm the neighbor and
You're not an adjacent neighbor.
I got a letter from you?
Yeah, you would have to, but you express your opinion.
Okay, do you want to explain the variance, Jim, please?
Yeah, simply, they're gonna be doing some work, they wanted to do a garage addition. And they've got another addition and some other things, they're making the place look great. But the garage addition, they wanted to add on to the back of the existing garage, which now the existing garage is only 4 feet up. It's not in compliance with it. All they're doing is continuing a non-compliant building with another non-compliant building. They're not coming any closer to the property. And it's gonna give them more garage space.
Did you have any comments back from those? Neighbors?
I had talked to the next door neighbor, which would mostly be affected by it. Because they share that neighboring line with the setback. I'm sorry,
The address.
Just say we should probably identify the property for the minute.
374 Creek Drive.
Okay, John and Tamara, did you have anything you wanted to say? If so,
No,
you have to raise your right hand.
just that,
Where you tell the truth.
Talked to them. And they did give us permission, so, or they told us they didn't have any problem with it, they would be the ones to post.
Any of you have any questions?
Well, you're just a clarification, Jim, that's 4 foot off of the property line. Currently, it's not compliant. What is the offset on that? Sort of 1 foot out.
So yeah, basically 1 foot off, of that setback. The minimum setback.
So the immediate neighbor is the Toms.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in Alan's absence, I'll go through the checklist he likes you all to hear, variance standard. Number 1, can the property yield a reasonable return, or can there be any beneficial use of the property without the variance? Number 2, is the variance substantial? Number 3, will the essential character of the neighborhood be subsequently altered, or will adjoining properties suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance? Number 4, will the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental service, in other words, water, sewer, garbage? Number 5, did the property owner purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction? Number 6, can the property owner's predicament be precluded through some method other than a variance? And number 7, would the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirements be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance? Now, if you guys all ask yourselves those questions.
Question I have for you is, what's I have your sketch, your plot plan, but I can't discern what the measurements are. How big a addition are you gonna add?
26 by 11. It's on the plan.
I couldn't make it out. Are you the contractor? No. And I just, for everyone's knowledge, I talked to Bill Toombs personally today. And he shared that the neighbors, you folks, came over and talked to he and Carol, and they have no objection.
Okay, well, if you're ready to vote, Gary can do a roll call vote. Just answer yay or nay when your name's called, please.
Bud,
Yes,
Barb,
Abstain?
Alan,
Okay.
Tabitha,
Yes,
Leslie,
Yes,
Ken.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the hearing. Have a nice ride. Okay, do we have anything else for zoning? Oh, somebody, Leslie, you were supposed to look into the status of the pain management. Did anything come with that?
we already discussed that. 597 Lake Road, Susan Arsenault, I left her a voicemail. She did not call me back.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're-
Okay, we'll go to, community relations, Tamara.
First thing I want to do is thank Pam and everybody on the Pride Committee who did help me get out the newsletter. I had it last minute and you guys jumped right on it and got it out for me really fast. So I appreciate your help and your effort with that. The next thing that I have, we did the movie night on Friday night last weekend. It was really nice, good turnout. Weather was favorable, it was a little chilly, but it was favorable. I will probably do that in that order again, where I will plan it for a weekend event with a rain date, if I can get away with us not having a porch rocker, to conflict of interest, where I'll choose a Friday night, and if the weather's favorable, we'll do a movie night here in the village on Friday with a tentative rain date for the following Saturday, unless the whole weekend is a washout. You never know what you're gonna get. The next event that I'm going to be doing is going to be the kids event for field day. That is either, I'm thinking that's going to be on June 23rd, because I have some people who can help me on that day. Don't be mad. It's Sunday.
Are you having frozen t-shirts again?
I don't know, Barbara, we have frozen t-shirts.
That was my,
It was really, really, really cold. Slightly frozen t-shirts.
Slightly frozen. Yeah, we want kids to be able to rip those t-shirts open and get them on. So if anybody, there's a lot of people here that probably don't know. Last year, we did an event. Normally, we do a fishing derby, and every year I had like 2 kids show up and nobody showed up to it. So last year, Barb helped me with field day, and we did a bunch of fun kids games, and we had a huge turnout, and a lot of kids showed up. Barb froze a bunch of t-shirts, and they spent like 30 minutes trying to get those puppies apart, and it was a lot of fun. So we are going to recreate that event this year, and we're going to do that again. And actually, I'm keeping life short and sweet because we're already an hour into this game. That is all I have for tonight.
okay. Barb, building and utilities?
Okay, just try to make it quick as well. We discussed with Mr. Barretti, there was a question last month about the lights at Bungalow Bay. They're the side streets and the flagpole. So it was confirmed that night, last month, the night of the meeting. Andy did contact me and let me know that their house, the power for the light on the flagpole by the tennis courts is connected to their house. So we are not being billed for that light at all. So thank you, Allison and Andy, for contributing that light to the flag. That flagpole. And the bill that I did get, that you sent me a copy of, there were 2 bills that you sent, and it had a total of 13 units listed on there. And those are, it's actually broken down by which ones are LED and which ones are not. And I drove around there probably 6 times and counted those lights, and it matches up exactly with the number of units that are listed on those 2 bills that you sent me. Okay, so that's, and I'm in the process of counting the rest of the street lights in the village as well. make sure that it matches up with, what's on the bills. And I did reach out to, First Energy regarding the rate increases, that there's, proposing to raise, increase the rates for all of our electrical bills and the streetlights in the village. And I have not heard back. Then again, it did take 6 weeks for them to fix the light that I reported on Garmin that was burned out, that they fixed today, I do believe. So it only took 6 weeks for that. So, and I did ask Alan Michelson to look into it, whether or not there's anything that we can do on behalf, or whether or not NOPEC could do anything on our behalf to fight this rate increase with the PUCO. It was reported to me that a light at the corner of Bungalow Bay and Parkway Path is out, so that has been reported. Might take 6 weeks to get it fixed, but it's been reported. And Jim just left, but he had contacted me. We used to have the sound system with the microphones and the speakers. It's sitting in the room back here. It hasn't been used in over a year. How long we've had these owls? Hasn't been used. I don't know if we have any intention of using it in the future. Do we want to keep it? There was a request made that if we wanted to donate it to the church for their use at the church, whether or not we want to keep it, donate it, sell it, I don't know. I told Jim that I was not able to make that decision.
If we
So-
could keep one microphone, because it would hook up to the speakers we use for events.
Okay, I mean, do we see that we used to have the order, can you guys hear us all fine? The way we're laid out, so that you come week after week, is it better hearing now than it used to be when we were?
When the system's not on, we can hear you okay.
Well, I shut that off, so, yeah. As long as the ventilation's not on, you guys can hear us, so we can monitor that, but do we want to table it? Do we want to make that decision?
I think you need to list out the equipment is what's capable. Sanctions within the community that might want to use it, or Tamitha for her events. I don't know if there's.
Oh, great, keep two, at least two of them, just in case.
Two microphones, yeah, because we have a very small soundboard that hooks up the speakers for the movie night, along with the projectors that you got for us and the DVD player that I supplied. We could use those speakers because they're good quality loudspeakers.
The ones that we have in here?
The
The
ones that we
you
have
have in
here.
there, right?
We can use those for other events along with the microphones if we needed to use them for an event where we need to make announcements. So a couple microphones staying with that would be,
I think that would be agreeable, but I mean, we have a big soundboard.
that's a huge soundboard. And one of the reasons why I got the little one, it was affordable and it was easy to transport. The one that's in there
Right.
is massive. And it probably was not a cheap soundboard.
It was not. It was not. I have the receipts.
Well, Jim has, a music background. He may have an idea. So you'd have to dispose of that. Microsoft would have to tell you if you could actually give it away, or you have to go through some kind of an auctioning process. There's probably some hoops to jump through that you need to talk about.
I suggest we table it.
Table until July.
We have some very savvy techie folk who are not present tonight. So
Would we be allowed to loan it to them for a single day use if they have an event?
I think you,
People come use tables and all that, I guess.
I mean, would that be something that ski team would have a need for with that? I mean, it's pretty
They have
complex.
their own.
I thought so. I mean, and that's a good one. I can hear it from my house. It's good. So if they came and approached and wanted to borrow it for a one-day use, I could just shoot out an email saying, I will allow them to use it for this event that they're having at their pavilion, and it'll be returned. And then we can table it until July to see if we would like to. I mean, it's just sitting in there. We're not using it anymore.
Yeah, I think you gotta jump to the legal hoops. I
Okay.
don't know if there's liability for damage and stuff like that. That
Okay.
needs to be resolved.
So we'll let, Jim will let you know next month. And then, I wanted to thank Dennis for mowing along Garmin. He mows on both the east and west side of Garmin, even though he doesn't own the property on the west side of it. So I'd like to thank him. He's gone back pretty close off the road, to keep that road down over there. So I wanted to thank him. And the only other thing I had, ski team used the building yesterday, and garden club will be in here next Monday. And the historical society will be here at 7 o'clock on the 27th. And I do believe that their agenda is, the changes that are being made over in the property, the changes the park district's making over there. So we'll probably have to get more chairs out, it'll be a big turnout, I think. That's all I have.
Okay, parks, Ken?
Well, the beach is up and running. Everything's going well. I don't know if anyone noticed, but the little deer toy that we had there, it's broken, it just wore out.
Wait, I got an update
Oh, yes.
from this afternoon. Don Viken and Keith were down there. Now,
Okay,
what more could you want than them two?
that's a good team. when it
So
comes to
there's something in that isn't replaceable, but they have figured out a way to replace it. So they are going to fix it.
Yep, yeah, I spoke with Keith, he showed me exactly what
And
the,
he said that about 4:37.
okay, yeah. Yes, I talked with him on Friday, and he showed me what he had some ideas. He said either he's gonna destroy it or he's gonna fix it.
They want you to know that Don Viken was with him the whole way.
Yeah, he's a master welder, like, and of course Keith, he's a shop teacher for, metal shop for his whole career. So this is the right guys, to take on that job. And I mentioned before, he's also gonna look at our basketball hoop to see if there's good way to take that off. It's a shame that there's, a nice option, but then Barb called it as soon as she saw that we were here to crank it and lower it and break it. Rights. And of course, it makes no sense to lower it if you want to, teach your kids how to regulation, shoot hoops at regulation height. I don't quite get that myself, but he's going to take a look at that as well. We're breaking out of retirements. He just doesn't know it yet. The sandbox, it's been hauled away. Alan, I helped that.
And they'll be working on it as a couple.
Okay, good. I mean, don't worry. So we're gonna. So that's.
You might get a new thing.
What's that?
You might get a new thing.
Good, all right, sounds good, just let me install it, do whatever we need to do. And I would thank the ski team for putting the ropes in and the diving platform, or not diving platform, swim platform. I did break loose, Tim told me, but it's gonna be put back in place, not a big deal. But yeah, the ropes look good, everything's looking good, appreciate the help there. And of course, we installed the village boat ramp and kayak launch. I want to thank Al Sapko, Eric Rommel, and Matt Dorji. He's not here, but he helped out a lot with the injured back. And of course, Howard Wolf. I don't know if he's here or not, but he brought his front end loader, which made the job carved off an hour, maybe longer. But you just gave it a little push, floated it out there, and drove the poles, and it was done. So that was beautiful. I want to thank him for that. The debris has been removed. There was a big pile of debris that they seem to like to do that. We're going to put a sign up there, a no dumping sign. And I got the verbiage for that because I know we had the official, what's the ordinance on that is, and the fine that goes along with, to deter these people from dumping. They think that they can do it. Well, there's no sign there, so, and one person sees a little pile, they're like, well, that's where we put the debris. That's where we put the driftwood, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So we're gonna put a sign up there. And, the ordinance we have, let's see here, dumping of waste and trash on the lake access point area. Pocketing Park and other parks are prohibited by ordinance 548-02 and subject to $100 fine and court costs. I want to suggest, increasing it to $250. I think $100 is very antiquated. I think that, if they see the sign there along with a surveillance sign, even though we don't have cameras there yet, nobody in their right mind is gonna dump there, think they're on camera. And I think, $100, $250 would be more
There's
appropriate.
a camera down there now.
What's that?
It said anybody watching knows there's no camera down there.
That was pretty stupid. But, I would like to increase that to $250. I don't know
Is it a
Opinion on
highway
that?
code or just?
Hold that take a motion, Gary.
it's the ordinance, $100 fine. That's what's put in place right now. I think $250 would be a more impact.
I can make a motion to increase the $100 fine for ordinance number 548-02 from 100 to 250.
Second,
All in favor? Opposed?
I'm opposed. Why? Yeah. Why that way, just in case you get caught. Real there.
No, it hit. Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be a topic of discussion, but I'm of the opinion that we as the village council have kind of a partnership with the village at large. I think posting the sign there is adequate. I don't know how much we've incurred in the way of an expense. But the landscape people, the guys who mow the grassy areas throughout the village, also have a trailer. And I've put the touch on them to remove the debris, accumulated debris from that fence. What they do is where the boat ramp is, they'll stack up debris and it backs up against the beach area. Is it desirable? No, probably not. But I would sooner be a proponent for helping the village maintain its appearance. So if I have a couple of people who pick up driftwood debris and stack it up against the fence, I'm willing to spend a couple $100, and I'm sure we haven't spent much more than that, to have my guys put it in the trailer and take it to the dump. I'm of the opinion we all have an obligation. We have the village to live here to help maintain it. We have lots and lots of folks who do unanswered, unrecognized good deeds for the benefit of all of us. I'm looking at one of those guys right here in front of me.
The problem is they're both said debris is coming from private property. So they're taking it, shoreline there, they're taking it off that and they're putting it here, and then you have to take out an expense. That's not right. Now, if you're talking about along the beach, that's a different pipe that actually ski team helps us with that. And I think they would have tons of debris that would take it off the beach, if that's what you're talking about.
But I don't think the people that are picking up the debris realize they're doing something wrong.
No, they don't.
It's not like I'm picking up debris from my property and putting it on the village property. It's people that are just walking along the lakefront. They see some sticks, they pick them up, they push,
Right.
I don't even think if they saw the no dumping sign, they would think that putting their sticks down was dumping. I don't think.
No, maybe we ought to use different verbiage.
Well, didn't you guys just vote this in?
No, we voted to change the language
Yeah,
for
Well,
increasing.
you voted
the
4-1.
change from $100 to $250.
Right.
Which is, now the sign, we haven't agreed on the sign. But we did increase the 100 to 250.
I'm just explaining why I said no.
But did you tell anyone that you asked these people to pick up the sticks?
Or ask anyone if they mind paying? I mean, he's not picking them up free.
Yeah, they might be doing a good thing, but they don't know they're doing a bad thing.
Not,
You know,
I only
they're not
talk,
supposed to be doing
I
that.
only talk to the people that I have access to with respect to what their assigned duties are as a contractor. These guys mow grass. And they have a spring cleanup and a fall cleanup. There's an accumulation of driftwood debris. I can take care of business.
Twice a year, you said you have them do it in the spring and the fall? or-
I have to do it whenever it's necessary. I don't have a clock or a watch or a calendar. You know, if there's an unsightly pile, I remove unsightly pile. It's simple. At least one for me. I don't think we need to have a committee discussion about it. It's just something I do in my area of responsibility.
But it shouldn't be the village expense to clean it up if it came from private property.
And we don't want that, because I actually,
Now we're spending taxpayers' dollars to clean up something that should have been a private resident's responsibility.
and people calling me, the head of parks and saying, look, this unsightly pile of sticks. I don't really care. It doesn't really affect me, but it affects people and they don't want it there. So maybe we should have our landscaping, guys pile their sticks elsewhere.
My landscaping guys don't pile anything anywhere.
I thought you mentioned that
They just clean it up.
Well, they just take it
Like
away.
other people pile, they pick up, carry away, and charge us.
I mean,
No, that's fine. He told me that he did that, and that's great, but,
oh,
like I said before, people are taking it from their property and putting it here.
The stuff that we had removed last year when there was a big pile there came from people's private land, privately owned land, and their debris along the lakefront there, and they piled it next to the fence and it became our problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the debris that washes up between the beach and the oaks, but all the people that live between the beach and the creek, they remove their own, they don't pile it up and expect us to remove it and
No,
pay for it.
oh, you mean.
So why should one end be responsible for cleaning it up and the other end expects us to clean it up?
Well, mysteries of Chippewa.
That's why I want to put the sign in there and put that.
But it's not just the debris. I mean, we get people that, you know, they come off their boat and they throw a garbage bag filled with beer cans or something.
Well, yeah, the boat ramp
So,
does.
I mean, it's not just the
Yeah.
People like that.
and debris. I mean, there's,
I've never thrown any trash. It's just
I didn't say you did.
driftwood.
no, but there's, I mean, the other day, there was a pile of garbage, beer cans next to the porta john.
Oh,
Didn't there used to be a trash can?
There is, yes, there is now. There typically is, but at that time there was not.
I think having a sign there is appropriate.
Yeah.
And if, some driftwood ends up there, it's just,
No, something was stacking of driftwood.
what's that? Anything but driftwood?
So maybe that's something we should include in next year's newsletter, that you are responsible for cleaning up and removing any debris that washes up during flooding. Do not put that on the village
Yeah,
as our
but I
responsibility.
still believe that we should put a sign there.
Sure.
I mean, that's,
Signs.
we've been asking, people have been asking for that for a while. I was supposed to do last year, I did not.
Okay, so let me get this straight. What you guys voted on before was to make that fine 250 instead of 100.
Yeah, because that
And
$100
you're gonna put
fine,
that on signs you're gonna get. and put
I
that-
want to put it on,
Because I saw you, somebody told you how to write that sign and the ordinance number and everything.
yep, I got that. I have it
So
right
you're
here.
gonna do that, or you can order those signs and now say 250.
Yep,
And we gotta make sure that Alan knows to change the ordinance, because as you know, he's not here.
okay, should I wait on that? I
Yeah,
guess,
Gary, are you gonna
okay,
tell Alan?
okay,
Gary,
okay. I think that'll go along. Because people don't know, they don't know you're not allowed to do this with a sign.
If we ever caught someone dumping and filed a charge against them?
no,
No, and it probably won't happen.
It's not emergency.
But the whole idea, and, you know, I'm not looking to make, instead of make $100 a resident, make 250. I just want them to see it and they'll be like, oh, I can't dump here. I can't put these sticks here because it's not allowed to the sign right in front of where the pile used to be. I just want that to stop.
All you gotta do is charge them one time, Ken.
What's that?
All you gotta do is find somebody one time and that ought to do it.
That'll do it.
There's a sign by the basketball hoop that says, put it back up. It's been there for over a year.
I think Mark, you got a question for me?
Section 3767.32 of the Government's Code. No person, regardless of intent, shall deposit litter or cause litter to be deposited on any public property or private property not owned by the person, It's a misdemeanor and it's up to a $500 fine.
Yeah, well, see, Alan gave me this, though, I think it's our village.
Yeah, but it's, you know, the revised code supersedes our.
I just go with the state thing and put the state sign up that you see everywhere else, maximum fine $500, and then charge somebody with it
Yeah,
one time.
yeah. I don't think it'll come to that, but if it does.
It's the only time. I understand what Bud's saying, and I almost agree with him too. It's almost ridiculous, if you ask me, but, you know, when we have a flood, we should say, okay, the first Saturday after it dries out, it's community cleanup day.
Yeah.
Clean it up, and the village pays to haul it away.
Instead, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, it was this tall.
But, you know, you're gonna do it on this Saturday or whatever, and it gets hauled away. It doesn't get piled up anywhere.
We should charge people for putting their trash in our trash can down by the beach. too.
Gotta catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
It's not
That's
just
why
at
we
the
need
beach,
cameras.
not just at the beach,
But, yeah.
all the parking lot and all, yeah, all of the things.
Okay, Ken, you got anything else?
Yes.
Let's have some kind of, how much money you collected, how much money they got for stickers so far?
Oh, I got that. All right. Okay, we're looking at, for ramp fees, link access passes and boat stickers, we collected $5,623 thus far. We sold 145 docking permit stickers for a grand total of so far and counting $12,640. So a grand total of, adding those two together, $18,263. Yeah, I want to thank Amber Glock, she's for her ongoing work and effort. It's like a full-time job, but she likes doing it because she wants to give back.
She loves it.
Yeah, she's doing great at that. And even though we put a deadline on it, or she put a deadline on it, but people still call her. But she's happy to do it. So that's great. And then we put that together. What else do I have?
Can you repeat the number of how many stickers?
How many stickers, how many
Stickers did you have?
of the lake access?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, the dock stickers, the docking permits.
thank you, that's it.
Okay, docking permits, those are you aware of those, what those are? Those are,
Keep a vote on it.
those are docking from the Medina County Park District
Right,
that we just took over.
yeah, I wanted to know how many,
Okay, yeah, I just
how
wanted,
many you,
oh, it was like 145 of them so far.
145, thank you.
That isn't necessarily all in our village.
Right.
Some of them by Euclid Avenue and some by the Gallup.
Yep.
Yeah, not many of them.
Not Glenn's, just Euclid. Correct. Glenn's, just Euclid.
Yep, just, yeah, the Glens, they have their own, they have some separate association handles it, just like us.
And then the other sticker list was what?
How many, okay, there was 3 ramp keys because it was not a ramp, it wasn't a key year. So that means 3 people bought boats that needed a key. And then 157 lake access passes, and those are in essence the beach access. And then 15 boat stickers. So that's all about a new boat and maybe to, or another boats. And that was a grand total of 5,623 for those, and those are ours. That's it. And go on for another hour.
No, we're good. You did a good job.
I have a question. The gate that the ski team uses, it's not locked.
I know I got to put it up.
So,
I just didn't program it yet. It's gonna have the same combination.
okay. Right.
Same combination as last year?
Same as last year. Yes. All the locks have the same combination. So, yeah. That should, I'm glad you reminded me because I got to do that soon, probably.
What was the outcome of storing the loaned equipment?
That's right. I had that, but I missed it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and that's kind of an ongoing debate. Initially, we're gonna keep the shuffleboard equipment and along with everything else. We have bocce ball equipment, we have cornhole equipment at the, down at the beach our structure down there. And then have it signed out. But the shuffleboard equipment is very cumbersome. So I had a lot of requests of us having some sort of box, plastic box that it's in the ground. But we can't have a combination, so the question is how we can get into it. So I came up with the idea of having a key to get into there, and then the key would be kept at the beach station. So you go down there, get the key, come up, unlock it, and then when you're done playing, then you put it back in there, and you lock it back. So I think we're going with that direction. The box is gonna cost about $500. And I put money in there for that. I don't know if there's anything left there, Gary. Originally, remember, we were talking about a box, but then some things shifted.
Right, yeah,
Is there something still in there that we already voted on, we already appropriated?
right.
Okay, so we're good to purchase a box. That's right around $500. So I think that's the direction we're gonna go for the shuffleboard.
So what if the beach is closed when they're done playing shuffleboard and they can't return the key?
They have to return it before the beach closes. Now, if there's rain, I don't know, I guess you just make an executive, I guess you would take it home at that point. We can't leave it just sitting there.
We're getting more than one key.
We're gonna have a sign out sheet so we know who gets our key when it comes up.
Yep, yeah, we have a sign up, we have that's at the beach right now. But I'm glad you mentioned signs, because we also have to have a sign at the shuffleboard court saying the equipment's down, the key for the equipment that's in this box is down at the beach. So that's another sign. More signs. Signs.
Are you getting a lot of people that are using the equipment that's? like,
Not really,
cornhole
but nobody
or
really knows. I mean, they're in the newsletter, you put it in the newsletter, but not everyone reads the newsletter. I got 2 of them, by the way, 2 newsletters in my mailbox.
Has anybody posted it to our unofficial Facebook
Well, I don't think
page?
anybody knows yet.
Or
Yeah.
has anybody put it in Claire's list for the email?
No, I have not.
That might be an idea.
Yeah, but we haven't really figured out the key part yet, but unless you want to do,
Yeah, I can
put some
do
on there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Until we get the box, but we can still say it's down there, talk to the beach.
You could say until you get the box supply. See how
Yeah,
that goes.
yeah. A lot of people have, certainly, a lot of people have equipment they already own, because I think it's been used.
Start a rumor, usually works.
What's that?
Start a rumor, and everybody will know.
Okay, got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, we'll go to streets, Bud.
Really have nothing to report. We recently opened bid, we awarded a bid, for the construction road project phase 9. We're not going forward with that till we get the money, and that doesn't happen until next month.
So what we're doing, and thank you for what we're doing, but what we see is what you've had money for in terms of the repair, the asphalt repair that you've done to, let's say, on Little Bay. So you have a section, and then you don't have a section, and you have a section, and
This is an OPWC grant. It's a big grant that we gotta wait until we get the funding.
as you get the funding, you do the work.
This is different than the normal road we do.
If you're at,
I understand the logic of why.
if I'm reading the tea leaves, your question is why it's kind of patchwork.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stretch the dollars.
Got
That's it in a nutshell.
it. Yeah. I have a small thing called sign there.
Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
I have one request. I guess I would go to get some no parking signs on Bungalow Bay along the old metal barrier up against the top of the hill along the lake. It was a problem last year, having cars at the weekend are parking along there. And it is a no parking zone, but we don't really have any of those no parking signs there.
Okay. I know what you mean, Claire. Is that associated with a particular residence, you believe?
Generally, yes, I would have to say that.
It's right along the garden.
I know.
I also see a lot of people parking down, at Point Park, right on the grass, and taking their kids to the playground.
I thought there was signs down, there was no signs down there.
I don't think
There is something posted about not parking down there on the grass. We have a village ordinance that says you're not allowed to park your cars on the grass.
I don't think these are village residents.
They're not village residents. And just like they said in the beginning of the meeting, that's when you call the sheriff's non-emergency line. You can call the sheriff and report it.
Yeah, look to see if they have, our sticker, if there's no sticker on there. And,
Either way, they're not allowed to park.
They're not allowed to park there.
They're parking.
no, they're not allowed to park there, but if it is a resident of ours that has it there and they're just dropping their kid, yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
no, they're
comfortable
not.
calling cops on them.
Well,
But-
there were some teenagers down there recently and, they just, first they were parked at the beach and then they moved down there and they were off,
Yeah,
but they weren't.
You can check for no parking signs and
Right.
Do we have any in the shed
I had to look.
instead of having to purchase them? If we might have them in other.
We-
Because they keep, didn't sometimes Rick Evans have a bunch of those?
Pardon?
Sometimes Rick Evans has a bunch of those to give us, what is that?
That might be a possibility as well. I'll look at it.
Yes, that.
But it might be a time to relook at Jennifer's situation with her parking behind her house. And I know we talked about it before. It just doesn't seem fair that she should have two passes, which are, we have limited spaces anyhow. And that there are two good sized, what I would consider driveways, that should allow her to have parking off of,
We don't own those, Ed. It's private property.
I thought I was part of the deed.
That
But isn't there a?
that gravel area of which you speak is privately owned property.
It is currently, but wasn't there back in the day, did that just somehow fall by the wayside?
Not that,
Access?
not that I'm aware, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, I'll pull the record.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to look, but,
Yeah, because then I would be the only cottage, I think, that doesn't have parking.
that's why we gave you two parking lots.
No, but it doesn't matter because those are parked up. It's not like I'm guaranteed parking.
What?
No, I'm not.
I'm
just saying.
I'm only chuckling because it's an economy of scale. There's only limited space. We have what we have, and what we don't have, we don't.
Right, I know, there is currently a lot, you're right, it's privately owned, I'm not sure how that's switched over, but I believe there should be what is it, lenience, what's the word? Easement. For me to take that driveway, because it would make no sense if that property is gonna come behind my neighbors and run behind my property.
Is this a zoning conversation? Is this about her parking or is this something else?
We were just talking about parking.
We're talking about off-road.
We were just
I
talking.
didn't know if you needed me to come up and take a look at it or.
I think
I
it's
don't know what she's referencing, I have no idea.
That's okay.
What are you talking about, the
She's
driveway that went front Helen
She's
Stevens' house?
she's talking about the,
That's part for cuts, right?
no, it's part of Rob and Carol Mo's.
They bought,
Behind their house, I mean,
Yeah, and it's,
they bought an additional tract of land that runs behind
oh,
my
okay.
property, which makes no sense other than because of the easement. That's what I thought you were gonna bring up. I thought you were gonna bring up. When you were saying parking, I thought you were gonna say, well, we were talking about the parking along that Claire brought up. Isn't that whole circle supposed to not be parked up? And that was my question.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, it used to be a time when everybody parked in front of the women's club on that side of the street, and then all of a sudden they all shifted.
no, I mean, there's where Claire was talking about along the fence, but top of the hill. And then there's a small circle in front of the Khalil property, and that's always parked up. And then I think that's a road. So if we were to put no parking sign, should that possibly extend around that circle?
no, I'm not sure where you're talking.
She's talking about the circular driveway in front of Heidi's house that has the
Well,
island in the
I
center.
understand
That's
that.
what she's talking about. No, we have not put no parking signs there, nor have we ever disturbed anybody that parked there, no matter who.
Yeah, so that was just my question, if we're gonna put signs that Claire suggested, it's adjacent to what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So if you're gonna put no parking signs, should that zone of no parking be extended to around that circle? I don't know if that's private or public property. You know, speaking of private and public parking access. Just wanna be consistent.
I understand.
We haven't been consistent in all these years. Why don't we start now?
Why, why not try?
I will look into them.
I think the people that have, where you're talking about, and I know where you're talking about, I think I know why you're talking about it, but the prior owners have all parked there too, and none of us we have never said it. We've never been asked to say anything. I guess we all could have said something, that it was no parking, but we just didn't, and we still haven't. But I mean, ever since that house got made huge, people have been parking there, and that is the road.
It is a road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the privilege of living here, and one of the unique things in my mind is public acceptance and accountability and reasonableness. We are famous for stopping on the road, car to car, golf cart to golf cart, and engaging in conversations. And as people approach, they say, oh, well, there you have it. I'll just go this way. And that happens everywhere, whether you're on foot or on horseback. And I think that is a gift to this community. And it is, you know, if I could applaud, I would stand up and applaud those people who have the common sense and the understanding. This is a gift. This place is a freaking gift. And we accommodate one another. We may agree to disagree, but we're very accommodating. I personally do not want to turn this into a sign heaven, where I drive 50 feet and I see a sign, and I drive another 50 feet and I see another sign. There are times and places where a prohibitive sign is entirely appropriate. But we have two periods here. It's the summertime and it's the wild, wild west. And it's vacation land and people are out mingling about and enjoying one another's company. And then there's a period of time where the weather's cold, chills, and snowflakes start to fill the air. And those of us who live here full time say, oh, thank God they've all left. So I'm glad to look into this, the sign prohibition about parking. If there's a way that we, the village council, help anyone with a particular issue or area of concern, that's why we're here. That's our job. That's what we do.
I think that resident's trying to alleviate a parking issue right now anyway.
I think we need to always be mindful of what we do once. There's 20 standing behind and saying, me too, right over here. So, you know, if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. We have to be thoughtful and appropriate. And those of us who don't have an official job or position need to put our arms around common sense and common courtesy. And oh my gosh, look out any window in today's world and see that so utterly lacking when we're so privileged to be here. And I'll get off my soapbox.
Okay, that's good. Good job. Yes, Barb.
The hill below said guardrail is village property, correct?
Yes.
So that hill is being used by some of those motorized, non-vehicle toys. They got a path going up and down that
And does
hill.
anybody call the police when this happens?
I'm sorry.
Does anyone call the police
That
when
was
this
another
happens, or is
issue
this
that I
just something
addressed.
we hear about?
That was another issue I told them to put the kibosh on it. So if you're living up there and you see the kid driving their motorized vehicles up and down that dirt path, call the police non-emergency number because they've already been warned.
Yeah, they're very bad. For the citizens, and some know that I do this, if it raises itself, and we did, the perpetrators as well, are identified. I make a personal visit, usually with Deputy Harvey or my left shoulder, to talk to them about it. I'm a good neighbor, just don't do it. This is your first warning and your only warning. So if it raises to that level, we'll make that comment.
I really appreciate that, Alan, because calling the sheriff really doesn't work.
Yeah, because you can't catch a person in the.
Well, this guy doesn't know where Chippewa Beach is. And if you don't give them an address, they won't take the call. So one time I got upset with that. I gave him Paul Harris. And they knocked on his door, what he is supposed to do. Same thing with the ramp. When the person you talked to last year is at it again. They don't know where that ramp is. So I would like I wish he was still here, but he doesn't know that dispatch doesn't want to do it, they call.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe we need to. I had the same problem giving people an intersection.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking about parking, you know, and I agree with Buck. We have some people in the community that abuse the leniency on that fact. And that's not right either. So, you know, especially in the circle, all of us have had parking. And we've had to deal with them internally. And what upsets me is a lot of this parking happens and the places that we have for parking are empty. But they have to walk a little bit to get there. So.
But those parking spaces are for residents only, right, on the circle, the.
I think, yeah,
The signs does that, and
we've had a tradition through Joanne that, especially on holidays, could use them. And do. And
everybody's welcome to park here if you have overflow parking.
yeah,
I mean, they can
well,
park
I mean,
here,
talk to Suzanne and see if we
park
can
at
do it.
Dino's.
So what my point is, I don't expect, if I'm gonna have that, I don't expect to start parking cars above that. Because it's no parking. I just think that neighbors shouldn't take the same attitude. Just my.
Agreed.
I could be wrong, but I believe Parkway Path is a full street. There is a sign that says something about.
Actually, Keith got rid of all the no parking signs on purpose. And if you notice that the streets, every street going in has a sign that says, no parking unless there's parking.
I had a question too about Bungalow Bay. When when they added the do not enter sign on the left, they took down the one-way sign on the right. I didn't understand that.
I'll try to remember while we make that adjustment. I think because it led to confusion and it was not appropriately placed. Well, actually, we do try to be thoughtful about what we do.
I figured.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Okay, so Alan Michelson, as you guys know, is absent tonight. He's in Colorado at a wedding, but he did leave a report. His report is that he has 2 cases pending in court for the village. One is a charge of disorderly conduct, and the defendant will be entering a plea to the charge and found guilty on June 17th, 2024. 2 is a charge of assault, which has not been set for trial yet, but will likely go to trial. I have the deed signed and ready to record for the 2 vacant Chippewa Road lot sold to Mr. and Mrs. Mon, and I will record it as soon as I get word the payment has been made in full for the auction price. That's been taken care of. I sent you information by separate email on parking on lots on the village and the mystery of a small circle of land on Bungalow Bay, which has no apparent known owner. That's his report. I didn't get a report. Other than it had.
Well, what he explained to me was that we're talking about Bungalow Bay, the circle in front of Heidi's house. Alan and I are of a similar opinion that that's probably part of the road right away. What is designated by a small, if you look at the plot map, a small unowned piece of property. When I say unowned, I mean, they don't know who the owner is. I'm confident, as is Alan, that it's village owned. So we'll recognize that when he comes back. And that's what we're talking about. And that's part of another conversation that had an unanswered question. So when I looked into the matter, that's what I found.
Okay, thank you, Bud. We're gonna go to finance. Gary?
No.
It shouldn't be hard to find out the city owns it. It's got
Agree.
some history on it
Agree.
at the court, so.
I did look into it, and it's a bit of a mystery at this point, and I can't imagine they came to that conclusion, but that's what's reported, so that's what I have to live with until we find it.
He said it had something to do with when the villages merged and they renumbered some of the lots and stuff. Right after that. So I'm sure they go back up. Okay, finance, Gary, please.
Okay. First question, did everybody sign in tonight? Hopefully. Appreciate that, thank you. On Saturday, I distributed the May bank reconciliation report showing everything in balance. Any questions on bank reconciliation? I have a motion authorizing the council to sign off.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. On Saturday, I delivered to council the May appropriations report for your review. Any questions or comments on appropriations through May? I have a motion allowing council to sign off.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. As a result of a meeting held on May 7th pertaining to the recommendation of the fiscal officer to reduce appropriations for 2024, we did have one department who offered to reduce appropriations by $5,200, that being the safety department. No other departments offered to reduce appropriations for 2024. Tonight, I did distribute to council the revised 2025 budget sheets for the 2 changes that we did make, one for safety and one for road and bridge. So now council has the entire 2025 budget projection. I continue to urge all departments to avoid spending all appropriated monies in 2024. We recommend that everyone target the 20% carryover for 2025. It's serious budget impacts and considerations as we move through 2025 and into 2026. With no other changes offered, we are ready to submit the 2025 budget to the Wayne County Auditor. Unless there are any questions, comments on 2025 budget?
So we have to make a motion for that.
Yes, sir. May I have a motion authorizing the fiscal officer to submit the 2025 budget to the Medina County Auditor incorporating the changes just reviewed?
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Stated the balance of the monies owed on those purchased two properties was received tonight, paid in full. As a reminder, NOPEC grant monies are available in the amount of $1,643. I must still submit a project for review and approval before monies can be accessed, I should say. Once the council decides on a project, I will submit the documentation for review.
What is our deadline on our submission?
It could be any time this year or even into next.
Thank you.
As a reminder, we also have the opportunity to apply for the PEP grant valued at $1,000. It was going to be used, most of that money was going to be used for training of the beach attendants, CPR. Any progress on that?
Nothing yet.
Will that training be taking place this year?
I hope so. I believe so.
Okay, because also some of the trees that we want to take down, we're going to use balance some monies for that. Trees might be ready to go before the CPR training, but if you want me to hold up on that, I will.
And Jim hasn't got a quote yet, and he did ask me to ask for some more funds for that. I guess there's some more trees that need taken down.
There's always more trees, so you find,
I know.
they got a ration.
They're probably fine, how they're finding them.
Yeah, so another $1,000 he's asking for tree burn.
We'll need a motion for that.
Can I make that motion? Okay, so I'll make a motion to add $1,000 to the.
Do you know what trees? Do you know if they're village
Yeah,
trees? Have
they
talked
are
to-
village trees, yeah, rustic road.
There's a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So once the decision is made on the CPR training, let me know. If we're not going to use it, we'll shift it over to the trees.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be used. I just have to, really coordinate all the schedules and everything and,
It's hard to get those kids all together at the same time.
yeah.
I understand.
And I might ask, the contact update if they can maybe do 2 separate days.
Okay. And we
Because I
don't
know
have,
they would do that, they wouldn't mind, and it's not gonna cost us any more to do that.
okay, and we don't have to pay in advance. This is once it's completed.
Correct, no payment is needed in advance, they will bill us.
Okay.
We did that the year prior, so we could utilize that grant in time.
Great, thank you. As Bud stated, GE, well, he didn't, I don't think he mentioned the name of the contractor. GE Baker had the most competitive bid for phase 9. Engineering Associates, they did confirm that the bid satisfied all compliance requirements. So we are ready to read the ordinance accepting the bid from GE Baker and authorizing the execution of a contract. Any questions or comments about the bids?
the contract cannot be initiated until you receive funds. It's a
Right, we can't, we actually have to finalize all of the OPWC paperwork, and that won't take place until sometime in early July. What this does, this gets everything in place, and once the OPWC paperwork is finalized, we can move right into issuing the contract. If there's no exception, I'd like to do the first reading, ordinance 896-24. Okay, it's the first reading of ordinance 896-24. An ordinance accepting the bid of GE Baker Construction Incorporated for the Village Phase 9 Street Improvement Project, authorizing the execution of a contract for the same and declaring the same an emergency. May I have a motion to waive the second and third reading? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to accept ordinance 896-24 as an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. As of the end of May, the balance in the primary checking account was $291,701.43. Money market, $199,024.23. Star Ohio, $108,285.13. For a total, $599,010.79. Any questions, comments about funds available? Okay, that's all I have for finance.
Okay, do we have any old business?
Yeah, the siren update, I made a submission to Senator Chuck funding from specialty budgets. No notification from them.
That's
I don't
been a
believe-
couple months now, right?
Well, I don't think that type of activity takes place till after June 30th.
Okay. Okay, we'll go in the audience. Jennifer?
What?
Got anything? You got anything left to say? I guess I could ask all you guys.
Calling on me?
Yeah,
Why are you calling on me?
because I go around the crowd and you have me.
Oh, you do one by one?
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus, all right.
Now, don't just make something up if you have something you really want to ask.
Oh, no, thank you. I mean, I thank you, for your speech earlier, but I was literally not, I do not take it for granted that I have a place here. I do that. And when I asked about parking on the circle, I do think it's a gift to be here. I don't want you to think that I don't think that.
Well,
Okay, I just want to be clear.
Okay.
I just want there to be harmony and acceptance and support. And I expect that from you guys, all of you, and from my community members as well.
This was a bungalow based social guy.
On to you, Ed.
Okay, so I just have one quick thing. Just as, and I'm not sure really it's gonna happen. But I met with and I just took time to go down to see the Medina commissioners. And very friendly, of course. And that day, my good friend from the water department was retiring, I guess Diana or Denise, whatever her name was. And so it was nice that she was there. But I mentioned that since 2013, we've been, the 43 or 54 cottages that have our water meters pulled out and get charged 2,000 gallons each time we get a building for 64 gallons of water. It's now been 11 years that we've been doing this, and thinking that there was a deficit at that time, that maybe it's time for them to reevaluate. Well, in the audience happened to be the head of the water department, and he said he could take it and run with it and see whether or not he can change that. So for the 50, some of us that have to remove our water meters, maybe we'll get some consideration. I just want to think.
good for you.
That's what we're doing.
They still
Robert?
charge you for 2,000 gallons even though you.
Oh, I'm thinking about putting the water into the.
Yeah.
So,
I only have two things. One, thank the paving group that did the paving in front of my driveway. Thank you very much. And whoever does our snow plowing and is always pushing the stop signs over, why don't you have him in the spring come put them back up?
Push it the other way.
You know what signs I'm talking about, right?
I'm sorry. Dude, I'm glad to have that conversation.
Well, I'm sure it must be the snowplow guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's an
The
annual,
sign is kind of going this way.
it's an annual event. I've had countless conversations about a variety of snow plowing.
Thank you, Paul.
Linda,
Well, first of all, it's really good to be back at Chippewa.
welcome back.
And, I want to thank Joanne mostly because she's done this job and done it very well for many, many years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I also want to add, as a community, another thing that we should all keep in mind is fairness. We have to be fair with one another. Caring and fair. And I also want to ask, since we've been back, we've heard in the circles, there's a series, there must be new dogs in the neighborhood because they're constantly barking. How do we handle that? Pardon?
Call the police. Yes. Call the police.
My dog barked relentlessly for squirrels, groundhogs, rabbits, another dog's tracks. So, yeah, we do walk down there in the mornings. I don't know if that's us or not.
I don't know.
But
It is.
Like,
it's not her.
the barking is crazy. Anyway, thank you all for everything.
You're welcome. Dennis?
The only thing I really have to say is that with the population of deer and as brazen as they are in the community, that the council probably should be thinking about what's the possibilities and how to handle the question of culling the deer in the near future.
Sign, no deer allowed.
Hey, that doesn't work. That says deer crop, and they will not use it.
That's a good comment. I mean, it's really a park district issue. But Medina had, the city had same issue.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
21 deer.
Sooner or later, that question.
It's a complicated issue, Dennis. We're not going into it tonight,
I mean, moving
and you
on.
know it.
Look all the homes that have been built in the area.
You know, the answer to that is more tax.
Go down and eliminate some of them builders on 162, so they quit chasing them down.
Can I just tell you though, that last year we had somebody with Lyme disease in Chippewa, and there were 13 in a herd in one yard at one time. Yes, it is a problem. It is a definite problem. And now that you've got the ticks and the Lyme disease, that is a big problem too. I do think that somebody needs.
But it's not just the deer, I mean, raccoons, I mean, anything. I went down to the park, the inlet, and I came back and there was one on my shoe. I brought it back into the village.
My mom got a tick on her dog just walking it down the street. Well, that's because there's so many of them, and the ticks all I mean, they do going in the herd. Yeah.
Pam, have you looked into any of the regulations? Because I told you, there's a ton of them. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight, if ever.
Well,
And there's regulations. You can't just go out and start shooting
Oh,
deer,
I know.
especially in our village with a bow and arrow when there's people everywhere. Without them.
Who's next?
Okay, Pam. Thank God.
Thank you.
Very interesting to see our council transacting with business.
No,
Thank you for the vigor.
Phil, you're hiding out there.
Okay.
I didn't think you were here. I haven't even heard you talk. Tom,
Nothing.
Claire,
Nothing,
Debbie,
nothing.
come on, Alan,
Nothing.
Mark. Surely you have something else. Oh, I'm sorry. Jill, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Mark, nothing?
Oh, yeah. Very.
I didn't think you were done yet.
Very disturbing. Fiscal officers asking people to reduce their budgets. And the one place that we should never reduce their budget, and nobody else did.
Hey, I only have $3,000 in my budget. Give me,
So you have 2,500.
I made my budget
Something is
small.
something. He knows what he's talking about.
I thought that I did.
It'd be very
reduce
nice
my
to be able to
incentives.
sit down and see a movie 5 years from now. Still a little bit of money in the budget.
Yeah. I thought I did reduce mine by saying I was gonna put up a pole and a light. I thought I did reduce it.
And I thought Lindsay did too.
I did too, yeah, I said, we weren't gonna tear that house down. That was
Did you,
15,000.
did you explain all this stuff to Mark? You need to call Mark and explain.
Yeah.
You need to have a conversation with Karen Mark this time.
Go back to what you said tonight. He said that
Yeah, we had a couple finance miss one.
But.
Everybody's on notice to reduce their spending.
Right.
We have been very fortunate the last couple of years between having COVID funds and the inheritance
I
to
understand.
be able to spend money that we normally would not have on things like pickleball courts,
Right.
kayak launches, and just all kinds of things
We
going on.
talked
But
about,
now it's back to the reality of staying within our budget, which I think everybody's trying to do.
talked about it this month, just
And we'll probably talk about it next month.
that he asked for people, he asked for the committees to reduce their appropriations, and only one did. And the one that we should never ask to reduce their appropriations is the one that did, and that's safety. I could care less if we've got a basketball hoop in the park or not. If I got it, if I need an ambulance or a police officer, they gotta come. So he's the place that we don't reduce.
Well, he's not reducing that kind of money, Mark. That's paid through a tax, and you know.
He just said today that he reduced the hours across the summer.
But
But
again, you understand the schedule. The hours are hourly deputies that we pay. We still have 24-hour coverage. Okay, so we know we're not reducing, we aren't gonna have not have police. They'll be here.
Exactly, but we also pay them extra to be here, just here, and that's what we reduce. When we should be paying them more to be here more. I want a police officer in this village 24/7. Can't have that, and I understand why. But when we have 120 hours a month scheduled through the summer, and we reduce that to 100 hours or 110? 100. So now we've got 20 hours less that are just for us. When they're out just for us, and I call for the sheriff, he comes to my house right now. When he's out for the county and I call for the sheriff, he might be over at Chicken
If
Center.
you're getting murdered, they'll be right there. If you got a complaint about a boat being somewhere it shouldn't be, they're probably not gonna be right there.
I don't care about a vote, but if somebody's coming through my front door,
They'll be here.
but coming from Sharon Center, when we could have maybe had them scheduled.
You know how many of them are at the truck stop, Mark?
Joanne, I've been on that side of the back. I know how it works.
Well, then you know that there's a bunch of them at the truck stop.
There is,
Well, then, that's not very far.
but it's not all the time.
To my point, you're right. We have a contract. Yeah, the deputies, so I'm making it so that we have some control.
Yep.
Reduce the budget. The budget we reduced, we didn't come close to spending it last year. This year is a little bit different. We've been following their contractual increases, but our money hasn't been going up. We'll be monitoring it.
The one place, and this is not directed at you at all, the one place we should never reduce the budget is safety.
Well, the other committee members know that they're controlling the budget of their committee.
My game plan was to carry it over pretty much. There's a lot of things that I'm not gonna do that I appropriated for. But I didn't want to revamp that because maybe I'll have to. But that was my thought
If
process.
you have to, then you come back and ask.
But I don't have to right now. It's not, if I keep that in mind and Gary mentioned, he goes carry over X amount of dollars. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna carry over X and mark my word, that will happen. But I didn't want to go there in black and white and say, okay, slash it. Cause I might need it. What if I need sand on the beach? I don't have the police force or the running shifts is more important than sand. But, some people might believe that there's too many, the police are out here, there's too many of them out here that are just sitting here and just wasting time. So some people believe that, some people believe how you feel.
Maybe we wouldn't have basketball.
That was actually donated.
Doesn't matter, we're still paying to fix it.
Hopefully not.
I actually did have someone just ask me if we were putting new sand at the beach this year. I thought we said we were not.
Well,
When was the last time that we put new
it was a while ago. What we did is we dug all the sand out from behind the benches when we placed them. So we really didn't need to, but I've been
He
hearing
claims you
that.
could do that again, then it's getting that way again.
Yeah, it probably needs it, but because of our budget constraints, I thought maybe we could push off one more year. I just use that as an example.
They have them kids race down there.
When I said, I thought weren't putting it in the budget this year, the person suggested that it really needed done. I
Yeah.
haven't been to the beach and I forgot to.
Yeah. I heard a couple people mention that to me. But that's not terribly important. I was just using it as an example.
Okay,
We
Pam,
probably won't happen this year.
I just want to thank, everybody who participated in the golf cart parade. We had almost 30, participants. Well, we did have 30 participants, including the kids that were there. Even though we had to change it, it was a very big success and everybody had fun. We are now looking forward to the cardboard boat race. We'll be putting, things out with, Claire and online as far as getting, the applications, and we're hoping that we'll have a big success with that as well. So, start building.
I saw one getting built the other day.
start building your floats too for the parade, because you got to go to that before the cardboard boat.
We have the float for the parade is all under control, and if anybody else has floats that would like to participate, I know Joanne would be thrilled.
Did you want to say something to Mark?
I did.
Gary wants to say something to you, Mark.
Hey, Mark, what I did, when we had the meeting on May 7th, for all the committee chair people, I told them, I said, they have the option. If they don't want to cut anything from their budget, that's fine. They can just leave it in the budget as it is, available for use, just as indicated by Ken. I said a preferred amount to reduce the budget by, I think it was overall like 17% for the year. And on the safety side of it, I told Alan and the mayor, I says, only reduce to the level that you feel comfortable. If you come back and say, Gary, we can't reduce because we need everything we've got budgeted, fine, so be it, we'll do it, just as you want. So nobody was, didn't demand that they had to cut back everything, I left it up to them. The only thing to be aware of is that if at any time in our history, and we never have done this, and I hope we never do it in the future, and I'm just giving them the caution to not do it. We've never spent all the appropriated monies that we have had in any given year. But for the reasons Mayor Dodaro mentioned, we had a slew of money come in that we typically don't get. And that money has basically all been spent. We can't maintain that level of spending because we don't have those extra monies.
We understand how everything works there.
So I'm trying to infuse in the mind of everybody, don't go under the impression that we can still spend at those levels.
Based on previous spending, you would ask them to reduce, you're saying 17%.
Overall for the budget for the year.
In the support tonight, the only committee that did that in appropriation wise was safety.
That's right.
Nobody else.
And that's only because safety felt that they could do that safely.
But at the same time, we also reduced the number of hours summer that we have law enforcement.
That's how you
just for us. I know we have the sheriff 24/7, but we pay them to be just ours a certain amount of time every month, and we reduce that.
Right. Well, they reduced it. They felt it was a safe level, so we took it.
I certainly hope they.
Okay, Pam, is somebody sitting next to you besides Chris?
No.
Okay, Chris. Andy?
Not tonight.
Allison?
On commenting to Linda Burchett's issues on dogs, we learned this last month. That if the deputy comes out and catches a dog, there's actually pen shelters over by the park office, that's the animal pound, and they place them in there.
Their capacity?
Are they? Well, what I was trying to say is individuals, if you capture a stray dog, let's catching a stray dog, unless you've got it right there, you could actually do the same thing, but if they're at capacity, there's nothing. So you could actually, if you cut a stray dog and you could secure it and take it over there, you could put it in pets, the proper.
Are the dogs, Linda, they by your new house or by the Rose Cottage?
They're on a circle. They're not loose. They're not loose.
No.
Do you know whose dogs they are?
The dogs that are making a lot of noise. Are resident dogs.
No,
I don't know.
they're just about to come for it. They park. Just follow share.
Okay, is there any new business?
I have one thing that's not new, but I have to rewind because I forgot.
Oh, I haven't.
So, because it took an hour to get to community relations, and that doesn't normally happen. When I was talking about movie night, I had a woman give me $20 at the movie that I have to give to Gary, and I have to say thank you to her. I think her name was Jennifer. I do not know. She actually doesn't live here. She has friends here. And she actually lives, she was a blonde woman. I think she was with Mitch's family. I think she was with the Doherty family.
Okay.
But it wasn't his sister, it wasn't Jenny's daughter, it was somebody else. But they live actually on Ballish. Friends in the neighborhood invited them to movie night. And she was so thrilled and excited with it that she wanted to give us a $20 donation. So I'm giving this to Gary now and publicly saying thank you to her for that donation. But I feel miserably guilty because I cannot remember if Jennifer was her name. It was,
I can ask them.
yeah, it was Lynn. She was blonde and she said they lived on Ballish.
Yeah.
And they were friends of residents here in our village. And that is all I have.
Any other new business? Okay, one more motion.
Second?
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.